The following episode contains references to domestic violence, bullying and racism, which some viewers and listeners may find distressing. Discretion is advised.
What's good, people? It's your boy Venom in the building.
Hey, hello, hi. It's your home slice, Dami Zane. Welcome to the Unpicked podcast. We are on episode 11.
Inside. Just gonna go with sound effects this episode. So.
Oh boy. I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to us so far. If you are new here, welcome. Do hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, yada yada yada. If you are listening on Spotify, hi, and also those on Apple, hello to you guys too. Apple Podcasts and Venom. Yeah, how you doing, man?
I'm good. This is the first week of this new year that I decided to go to the gym because I felt like all the new year, new me people, I feel like they're tired themselves out already. So I went to the gym and it was pretty empty. I was enjoying.
Okay.
That was me. That was my accomplishment. I've been saying I need to get back in the gym, but I wasn't trying to get in there with everyone, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I hear that. My gym's still packed, which is very annoying. I'm waiting for the slackers to
They will
off.
give up.
I'm waiting for them. February, it's gonna be quiet.
Yeah.
But I've got my Apple Watch, and that thing is addictive.
The way she's stunting on them right now.
Because I'm obsessed with closing my rings. Obsessed. And it's a bit toxic, I have to admit. Because
it's not toxic.
No, it is. I deeped it the other day because if I don't close my rings, I feel like shit.
Damn.
But I did 10 days of closing my rings and exceeding like the target, and especially for the move. And it's because I did 10 days of working out straight.
So what happened on the 11th day?
I said, my body said to me, if you even try it, I will fumble.
Damn.
So just sit down. Yeah. So the 11th day I chilled. And then, day 12, I was back on it. So I've been very consistent this year.
No, it sounds good. It sounds good.
And a special someone saw me recently and they were like, Dammy, your booty's getting bigger. And I said,
okay.
I said, yes, it's working. Remember I told you I'm trying to grow a BBL in the gym. When I heard your bums looking, I said, it gave me the vim that I needed. I can't lie. I said, okay, I'm going to be in the gym even more now.
That's the thing. Once you start seeing the results, it just gets easier. Like, it's just
I didn't see it, but they saw it. And when they told me, I swear to you, it gave me some next, like, motivation. Like, cool, fine. This summer, listen.
It's going to be us to the grass squats from now until December.
Basically. Anyway, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Why go on for Drake and the sriracha hot sauce?
I do need confirmation from Drake or someone from his camp that this is true stories, but it's very wild that
I don't know if it was sriracha. I'm just saying sriracha.
I mean, hot sauce.
It could just be straight up and down Scotch bonnet hot sauce. Who knows? Yeah,
blended Scotch bonnet. I mean, if you feel the need to, I don't know why you wouldn't just flush it down the toilet though. Like, as in, not the whole condom. Obviously, you can't flush the condom down the toilet. But I mean, just empty the content. I don't know, or just keep it in your pocket if you're like worried about what other people's intentions may be with your sperm like that. That's a bit mad to be banging people that you think would do that.
I get that these rappers or celebrities feel like everybody wants them in it. I get it. I get that. But it's a bit much in it. It's a bit much.
It's a lot.
It's a precaution that's very unnecessary. Because I'll be honest, yeah, I don't understand. Did he put it in the condom after he had sex? Or
yeah.
Okay, so it's not like he was trying to put hot sauce on his.
What, put hot sauce on his thing, put a condom on?
I don't know. I don't know.
You made that story way crazier than it was. Why did your brain do that?
I don't know. My brain said kinky.
There
That's
was
what my
only
brain
one
said.
logical way to do this hot sauce thing, and you created a whole next way that I can guarantee no one else has thought of.
No, but I saw tweets on a meme, yeah, and someone was like, do you know what? No, this is YouTube. I'll tell you offline. But it was along the lines of the girl clocking that there's sriracha, like not sriracha sauce. I keep saying sriracha because that's my little joke about it. But this girl clocking that there's hot sauce in her vajayjay. Mm-hmm. Because the hot sauce slipped out of the condom whilst it was. That's why I was like, wait, did he put it on?
Yeah,
you see what I mean? Because some of the memes I saw, I was like, wait a minute, I swear he put it in after. Anyway, there's other ways to
protect yourselves,
like
not sleeping with people who are mad. How about that? How about
take the condom with you?
Yeah, no, that would have been
flush the contents down the toilet.
That would have been precautionary step. If you didn't realize, but if you're like, nah, this girl's a bit mad, isn't it? Why are you beating?
Because isn't there this misconception, or maybe it's true, I don't know, that crazy girls are better in bed? Maybe we can discuss that another time. But that's apparently the notion I've heard anyway.
I think it's one we can explore. Have to dig in the back of my mind and see what going on. The next story that I clocked this week was the story of, this is going to be the ongoing story of Kim and Ye. And this time it was Chicago's birthday. And Ye not being invited to his own daughter's birthday when he lives across the road from... I know that they had the party at the house, but I don't know where they had the party. But yeah, Kanye was not invited to his own daughter's birthday. Talk about being forcibly made to be an absent father. It's a lot.
I think Kanye and Kim are messy because what had happened was, obviously Kanye came out, did one live talking about they won't let me know where the party is, blah blah. I haven't got the invitation. Next thing you know, he's relaying that he asked Tristan. So Tristan's there. Tristan had to ask Chloe. We'll park that. Clearly, we've already discussed that Chloe likes being cheated on. She likes being the side chick, so it's okay. We'll put that to the side. And then apparently he got the address from Travis.
Straight up.
And Kylie told the security to let him in. So, which I actually think that Kris Jenner has plotted this whole thing for like PR reasons.
Well, of course there would have been cameras there and stuff capturing it for the show.
I feel like that's what this is, isn't it? To get people talking about them, because no one really cares about the Kardashians anymore. Like, well, no, they do, but like they don't have a good rep. No one really cares. We don't care.
I've never been involved in like that type of. Yeah.
We don't care. Keep it moving. Yeah. So I feel like that's what's happened. But anyway, now we're hearing that actually, because Kim was angry that Kanye came out and said all these things, and also there's the diss track Easy. It's on Spotify. I know that for sure. Listen to it. It's lit. So she was upset about all of that, and then she was like, but there's two parties for Chicago, and now the not the latest, because by the time this video comes out, I'm sure we're gonna hear more. But the latest as of today that we're filming is that Kanye was always going to throw Chicago his own party, and he has done. So it's like, so to me, it just seems like Kanye is unhinged, and I really hope he doesn't turn into Tyrese. That's what I'm hoping, because I don't want to see. I don't want to see any of that. But I just feel like Kanye's unhinged. Kim, she's playing games. Both of them are as bad as each other. The kids are the pawns in the middle. It's disgusting.
But I think whether or not, if I was in his situation, and I don't know it intimately, but if I had a daughter and her mum was throwing her a party, the way his video sounded was almost like he wasn't told. So from that perspective, I would want to know. And I would want to know exactly where it is, so that if I choose to pull up, I can pull up. You know what I mean? It's my daughter.
I feel like with Kanye, okay, if Kim really did try to prevent Kanye from seeing his kids, that's disgusting behavior. I don't agree with women who do that. Unless the guy is dangerous in terms of like domestic violence, those type of things.
Yeah,
there,
is abusive or
or along those lines, any type of abuse, then cool, I get that. Fair enough, Kanye's had some mental health issues, and so that's the narrative that they're painting as to why there needs to be some space or whatever. He can still see his kids. You just have to make sure there's provisions in place so that he can see his kids. But let him see his kids. Do you know what I mean? But on the flip side, I feel like Kanye has shown us in the past that he can go a bit wayward. And so it makes it a bit difficult to kind of believe him sometimes. Like when I first saw the live, I believed him. And then as the story started unfolding, I started thinking, Kanye, I don't know what to believe.
I mean, do you know what? I'll tell you why it's tricky. It's because I wouldn't understand per se what his agenda would be or what he stands to gain from creating a fictional narrative like that, if you see what I mean.
It's not the first time that Kanye has tried to portray his ex in a bad way. He did the same thing to Amber Rose. So I get what you're saying about what does he gain, but he has a reputation for portraying his exes in a bad light, which I think is a
But
red
if it's
flag.
just
Amber, if you're dating
is it just
a guy,
Amber though? Because before Amber, it was that black woman. I didn't hear him say anything about it.
I don't remember anything. I can't remember that far back, but I know with Amber Rose, he definitely painted her in a certain way, painted her as a hoe. And I think that's a red flag. If I'm dating someone and they're talking about their ex and they're painting their ex badly like that, then to me, I think you're the crazy one. But that's another conversation. But Kanye has a reputation. He's done it to Amber Rose, so he could do it to Kim. And remember, they're going through a divorce. He's probably going to want custody of his kids and stuff like that.
So you think it's more of a legal play into the...
I do think so. But who knows? Let's just see how the story unfolds. But I just think that it's a sticky one.
So last week, Dami mentioned something kind of in passing as we were going through our conversation. And then after we finished that episode offline, she mentioned it again. And I don't know how I missed it the first time, but it triggered me like nothing. So you said something about being black in a workplace. And I don't know why it struck a nerve, but for some reason last week I was just like, whoa, why have I not spoken about this ever personally? And why have we not spoken about this or even put it on the agenda? We must talk about this next week. So here we are. We have to. So here we are.
There's a lot to unpick when we talk about being black in the workplace, isn't there? I reckon it triggered you because I think this is something that's affected everyone. Everyone's experienced some sort of microaggression or like some sort of unfairness or like difficulty with progression.
It's all of that.
Some sort of resistance in the workplace here in the UK. And I just thought, why not? You know? So what actually triggered you? When I said it, what was it that triggered you?
So it just... Okay. The context is I'm actually very happy now in life, in work.
That's good.
And I guess it triggered me because it reminded me of the moments where I wasn't happy, and that space of unhappiness, I actually thought that was just normal and fine, if you know what I mean. And where I'm actually in a place that actually is normal now, it was just like, oh my God, do you remember when you used to think X, Y, and Z was actually normal? So, I think the first thing that which I was going to ask you was like, do you remember the first time where you was at work and you were like reminded that you were black, or you just noticed that you were black as opposed to you weren't just an employee, if you know what I mean? Or did you ever feel like an employee like everybody else, if you know what I mean?
When I used to work in retail in uni, I felt like an employee like everyone else. It's not until I went into the corporate world that I first realised that, hold on a minute.
Well, go on. You said you had a really good time in retail.
Oh, yeah.
And then it changed for corporate.
Yeah.
Mine was kind of similar, but I definitely got my first reminder in retail.
Okay.
Because first ever job I worked for was like in it was like in a retail store, and the manager was black and the assistant manager was black. That was kind of normal, but they were weird. They were really bad role models considering they were black. That was a bad job. And then I went to work for and I was just like, oh my God, like man's in here. Big name brand. Anyway, but this is where I got my first reminder, because they had certain rules about like things people can do, as in employees can do with their hair and like how you can look, etc., etc. And one of them was to do with like dyeing your hair. Like I think you were allowed to dye your hair, but only like natural colors, something like that.
Okay.
And like when I was at uni, I had long hair, afro, canos, all that kind of stuff. But then when I had got to the point where I was now working, I'd shaved it off to just have like low hair. So I was just trying different looks because I was used to having a different level of variety with my hair. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll dye it, you know what I mean? Before I just leave it and be boring. So I went to my manager and I was like, and the fact that I went to my manager and asked was the point that I actually realized I'm different, like, if you know what I mean. Because I really wanted to dye my hair blonde, just on a random one. This is not my vibe. Like, let me just say this 100%, that's not my vibe. I was just like, you know what, let me just do something.
What's next?
Yeah. I was just like, let me just do something mad before I just do normal, if you know what I mean. So I was like, yeah, blonde. And then I was like, if I come in like this on Monday, like, I have a feeling I'm just going to get sent home or something. So I went up to my manager, I was like, so I want to dye my hair blonde. And he looked perplexed because he was like one of the most understanding people who weren't black. But he also realized that I had sort of entered this zone of identity that he couldn't even begin to tackle based on the rules that were in place and stuff. And then I was like, ultimately the answer was no from him, as in like, I would advise you not to. And then I was like, but so many people have dyed their hair blonde. Like, that's all I could think of was all the other people who weren't black who had dyed their hair blonde. And I was just like, okay. And then I went bald, so I never got a chance to be blonde, guys.
I mean, the retail place that I used to work at, it was a clothing store. And we were pretty much free to express ourselves how we wanted to. Like, one of the girls had pink hair.
Which is different.
She was Caucasian, but still, she had pink hair. She had face like piercings and stuff, and that was okay. You know, and I remember one time I had a date after work.
Oh.
So I went to work with my hair rollers in.
Okay.
And my hair rollers was in my weave, and I just put a little like scarf on it, like a bow thing, and I went to work. After work, I had to get ready after work, so I had to get ready at work. So that's why I wore the rollers to work in the first place. And then after my shift, I went on my date, and it was cool, you know. So I didn't really feel. I wasn't made to feel like I couldn't bring my whole self to work. It's definitely when I got to corporate. So after I finished my master's and started working in a corporate environment, that's when I realized that these people, and it was more to do with the overarching perception. So I feel like I work in finance, so it is predominantly a white environment, but you do get a lot of there's a lot of black people in this environment. There's a lot of Asian people in this environment as well. In some corporate places, you find that, you know, especially now, they talk a lot about diversity. But what you find is that when you look at the execs, or you look at the, you know, the people closest to the CEO on the hierarchy, they tend to be, I mean, women. There's a lot of female CEOs at the moment, but they're white women. And then when you go further down the hierarchy, you find more, you know, like white men, white women. And then their idea of diversity, in my opinion, is to stick like a token Asian person in there.
Yeah.
And then as you go down into middle management, then you start seeing a lot more Asian people. Again, I mean, white people are everywhere. And then you see like maybe a token couple of black people. And when I say black, I'm really talking about people with mixed heritage. So you'd find, where I work, certainly you don't really see that many middle managers that are actually black. And then when you get to the bottom, so the people at the bottom of the hierarchy, that's where the majority of the black people are.
That's where the majority of the diversity is. Yeah, of course. But I mean,
so it's really difficult to kind of get into the middle management place and then higher up into the CEO place. And I tend to find that, especially where I work anyway, I think it's slightly easier for black women to get there than it is for black men to get there because of the overarching perception that they have of black men. And then when you do get a black woman up there, it's either she wants to bring other people with her, rare, or she's got a chip on her shoulder. So it's I worked my ass off to get here, so you have to do 150% before you can get there. It's hard.
Stifling.
It's so hard. It's so demoralizing. It's tiring, and I definitely think in the corporate world, a lot of it is who you know and whether your manager, your direct reporting manager, whether they like you as opposed to what qualifications you have, what experience you have, what skills you have. So for me, I found that all of the promotions I got, I only got them when I started playing the game,
Yeah. This is one thing that I'm
you can't be the way I talk on this podcast or the way I talk with my friends and my family. I could not talk like that at work.
Yeah.
If I spoke like that at work, I mean, a lot of the topics in the handbook don't talk about it. There's certain things you can't talk about in the workforce anyway. But the way that I am as a person, I have to change that. If I want to be perceived a certain way, then I have to kind of strip that.
Yeah, you have to remove your whole identity just to
play a game, and it's so exhausting. And
it's really.
I've known people who I worked with in the beginning that had this notion that it was only my workplace, but very quickly you learn that no matter where you go.
Yeah, it's kind of the same story in most places.
It's everywhere, no matter where you go.
But this was my problem. But back to my retail experience, because it definitely changed when I went corporate, but back to the retail experience, because I was working like freelancing outside of work, I've always had a dual life anyway. Like I'm working in the system and I'm working outside of the system. I'm trying to chase this creative ambition, but I'm leveraging it on this stable thing because what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing's promised. So within the system, I'm like, okay, cool. I never wanted to be a retail worker, but I'm here. The path dictates that, you can become a manager and, if you're good enough or you're creative, you could even go to head office, etc. They had schemes in place that deliver this. And this scheme was like, called Aspiring to Be. And I used to look at people on this scheme. I mean, literally 90% of the people, if not 95% of the people on this scheme were obviously white, but 90% or 95% of the workplace should be white based on the population. So that makes sense to me. But
I don't think I agree with you on that, but okay.
Okay. But the way I was never considered for this scheme, even though I was definitely the most creative and intellectual person on this team at points. I'm not saying I'm the smartest employee ever, but in terms of my aspirations, it was very clear. Oh, this person is determined. This person will actually go above and beyond to etc. Like if we give this guy a bone, he's gone. If that's the kind of employee I was. The way I was overlooked, and to the point where I trained probably about 3 or 4 different people who were white who then got put on this course. I was like, bruh, what is going on?
Sounds about right. When you ask for feedback, they don't know how to talk straight. They don't know how to talk straight.
And you was mentioning this, what do you call it? Damn. You mentioned the thing about how you present to the rest of the team and conforming to, however. You said, how did you word it? You said like how other people see you. How
you're perceived.
Perception. There you go.
Perception, yeah.
Yeah. So a few times I'd heard about the perception of me as a character to the other teammates that maybe I'm not managing material. I'm like, okay, but these times I'm doing work that's above you. Like, I'm working for the... Anyway, before I start, yeah.
It's a trip, because I've heard that before too.
I'm like, bruv, I'm doing work that you're supposed to be doing. Yeah. Like, as in, I'm managing the whole department whilst you're just managing a section. But
I'm the one with no... yeah.
All right, cool. So, yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
That happened. And that's still me in retail. So that's why I was like, nah, retail, I definitely discovered very quickly. You are the black guy. Slow that roll. Because I had energy. I was in there with store managers, regional managers. I'm talking to everybody, brushing shoulders. And I'm like,
why do you think... Sorry to cut you off.
No, go on.
Why do you think it's like that? What do you think the perception is of black men in the workplace?
So I think culturally, black people are very different anyway. Yeah. Like, yes, we can code switch. We've learnt to do that. But I think, like, our cultural default, I was trying to think of it before this episode. I was like, really, what is the basis of it? And I think, yeah, that consumerism does not come naturally to black people. Black people have, I personally believe anyway, are a bit more literal. Or at least this is how I feel about it. So in terms of work, in terms of your actions, it's very much... This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is the result of what I'm doing. Like, I reckon if consumerism never existed and got brought to the rest of the world, then you wouldn't really find it in Africa. People would bar over things that they need, and they wouldn't be working in excess of work, if you know what I mean. Like, the system here, retail, is designed to sell things to people, not to solve problems. Whereas I feel like, from what I've seen, we're more problem solvers. Like, it's more literal. Like, this is why I'll sell you a broom because you need to sweep. I'm not going to try and sell you 10 other brooms just because, oh, this one's better than the last. If you, like, when I go to Nigeria, I still see people using brooms made of, them wicker brooms.
Yeah, that's just
because it works. You could easily come with a better broom, but that broom works. So that's why you use that broom. Okay. If you see what I'm saying. Okay. So I kind of think, in terms of culture, in terms of attitude, in terms of action, it's very much more that way inclined, where I think other cultures are more akin to playing these games based in consumerism and presenting certain ways that aren't real, like based in idealism instead of realism.
See, I think it's not really I think that plays a part, but I don't think that's the main reason. I think the main reason why the perception is there is because of the perception that white people have always had about black people. So, taking it back to slavery times, white people were scared of us. So they saw it as, wow, these, our body structure is different. So, there's this idea that black men are bigger and stronger physically than white men. And so black people have been labelled as aggressive. And so what I've seen is that perception being placed on black men, in that they are aggressive, they are somewhat delinquent, don't play by the rules, don't play ball. And so what they do is they don't let you get into the higher positions, so that you cannot then control, because it's all about power and control. And they want to control them. And the reason why I think this is more the deciding factor when it comes to perception is because the position I'm in, I get to train up and decide on people's future career where I work, basically. And so I'm privy to a lot of conversations around perception and is this person gonna make it or not? Should this person stay or go? Should we manage them out or not? That type of thing. And I've seen firsthand someone who is more than capable, but for some reason or other, perception ends up being brought to the table as a reason as to why they cannot go ahead. And a lot of the time there's no basis for it. It's simply, I'm threatened.
Yeah, basically.
And once you learn the language they use around that,
well, yeah, I mean,
then
the
it's
language,
so easy for
it's
you
easy
to
to
pick
see.
it out.
But I think that's more the theme. You said you did say some other points about how, you know, like the delinquency and the lack of control and that. But I actually think it's all about being threatened, because.
But that's why they're threatened. That's why they're threatened.
No, but I mean, like, I've never presented that way. Like,
But you don't need to present that way. You don't need to. You don't need to present that way for them to see you that way. That's the point I'm making. It's so ingrained. Yeah. It's so and that's why I mentioned slavery, because it's so ingrained in them from back then. That's why you get some Caucasian people of today turn around and tell you there is no racism. They're blind to it, but they don't realize that it's so ingrained in their culture and the way that they behave. They can't even see the racism. They can't even see the microaggression,
because to them it's not active.
It's not there. It doesn't exist. But we know it exists. But it's because it's so ingrained in them and in their culture and the way that they communicate, the way that they behave and stuff like that. So I do think that the idea of feeling threatened and needing to feel like they're in control and have the upper hand in terms of power goes all the way back to slavery and the fact that they thought that they found us threatening back then. That's why when they went to our countries and they saw, you know, how we were doing things, they came and stole so much from us and then tried to rebrand certain things as their own. When it came from us, they saw civilization back. We showed them civilization. If you read into the history, Africa taught the Western world how to be civilized, believe it or not, right? And so they saw all of that and they thought, no, we're meant to be the best people. We're meant to be the best. We're superior. And that mentality has stayed all the way, and it's still here today in the corporate world. And that is the reason why I think that black men don't have a harder time climbing up the corporate ladder than a black woman, because black women are still seen as aggressive. We're still seen as too outspoken. We need to be we need to be more submissive. They don't like us to be too, do you know what I mean? Yeah,
domineering. But by the nature of being a woman.
But that is our nature, which I think even in that is not really our nature. It's a survival technique that we've embodied because of the way we've been treated in going back, you know, slavery till now, and even what we've taught ourselves to do even within our own community as black women. In our own black community, we've had to be strong and, you know, be dominant and whatever, and display what some people would call masculine energy, when that's not really our natural state. Okay, that's a different conversation. So I think even though black women have that, we're perceived that way, they're not as threatened by us.
Yeah, because you're women, because we're women before you're black. Yeah,
right. Yeah. In 2015, I was put into a team of just men, and it was predominantly white men, and me, little old me. I mean, I can hold it down. You don't know I can hold it down, but I didn't hold it.
The complete opposite.
I didn't hold it down. So my manager, he started bullying me, and it got so bad, I went into a shell of myself. So can you imagine, Dami Zayn, I was mad quiet. Can you imagine?
This sounds like the exact same experience, Karen.
So I went into myself. So I went really quiet, and then I fell into a depression. This is when I first got diagnosed with anxiety, actually. It happened shortly after this. But we'll talk about mental health in another episode entirely. So I fell into a depression, and then I got signed off. I had to get signed off work. And certain things were going wrong, and they tried to say it was my fault. Allegations got dropped in the end, but they tried to say it was my fault. So I was like, no, you lot are not going to do this. You lot are not going to manage me out, because I work flipping hard. And I know everyone says that, yeah, like Molly May, but I do. I work flipping hard. Like
25 hours in this day, baby.
I at this point, I was doing 48 hours a day, not 24. Like, I was doing stuff that wasn't even my pay grade. You know, just going above and beyond, chasing this ceiling, chasing this progression thing, trying to get out of the whole, this is the perception of Dami, to the point where I was muted. Because I didn't want them to see me as over opinionated. I didn't want them to see me as aggressive. I didn't even want them to see me as overly ambitious. Because as a black woman, if you're overly ambitious in the workplace,
exactly, you're a threat and you're just get out of here.
It's over for you. They're going to find a way to knock you down to size. So I had to kind of like, I was trying to figure out how to play the game, but it took so much out of me mentally that I made myself ill. So I got signed off work and I was off work for a good 6 months. And when I came back, first of all, I was like, I'm going to HR. Now, this is the first time I realized HR is not for you. HR actually doesn't care about you. HR works for the company.
And they're there to protect the company.
They're there to protect the company. They're not there to protect you. And they put things like you can raise a grievance in place as a facade to make you think that they're there for you, but really it's to protect the company. But me being me, I was like, listen, I'm going to raise a grievance. And the culture was very much like, no one really, if you raise a grievance, you're the problem. But I still raised it anyway because I was like, you lot silenced me for so long. I am not going to be silent now. Luckily for me, because I don't know, I'm one of those people. I'm very strategic. I keep receipts in every area of my life. I keep receipts, okay? In case I need to use it, I keep receipts. So I put together a pack, raised a grievance. I remember the meeting with the HR partner and the head of the department, and they tried to do this whole let's resolve this informally, blah blah. I was like, this is past resolving informally because I've actually been made sick out of this situation. Like I've had to take time out of work. I've had mental breakdowns in the office on work grounds. You lot did nothing about that. I had to really list everything for them. It was really gruesome. So when they realized the magnitude of the bullying and how big the impact was on me, once they saw the evidence, they can't lie about that. They can't brush it under the table. They can't gaslight me. They can't nothing. So they were like, okay. Next thing you know, the manager got sacked. Well, he didn't get sacked. They told him that I'd raised a grievance against him. He handed in his notice, didn't come back.
Yeah, to allow him to.
So I reckon they did that so that he can save himself, basically.
Yeah, because if you're sacked, it's completely different.
It's a different ball game. But I say all of that. I mentioned all of that basically to say that in the moment leading up to me saying, hold on a minute, I come to work and I'm fine until I get to the front of the building, and then I start having panic attacks, or then I start having migraines, like really bad migraine, like physical effects. Being near the office was giving me making me feel physically
You are
sick.
just reminding me of me.
I didn't clock that
the reason.
It was overt. I didn't clock it was over, like bullying, over racism until that point. Coming up to that, to me, it was all microaggressions, little things that I didn't think I could explain, because that's what they do. They do little things that if you try to explain,
you can't name it.
You can't name it, and when you explain it to someone else, it's like it's not that
like
deep.
nothing.
Like
you're
just
nothing.
being sensitive, and it's like, no, I'm not being sensitive. Like the way they responded there didn't feel right to me, or the way they looked at me there didn't feel right to me, or little things. So leading up to that point, I didn't realize. It didn't feel overt. It didn't feel explicit. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It wasn't until I started having physical, like, feelings about, like, you know what I mean? Like I said, walking up to I'll be all right. Get to the front, the steps, the front of the building. And I'm like, this place is giving me negative energy. And now I've got a migraine and scared to call in sick. Little things like that. That's when I realized, this isn't a joke.
I believe that everybody is good by default. I that's my issue, or that was my issue going into work, period, point blank. I didn't think people are gonna be like at your neck for progression, and like people that you may know or think are your friends are not gonna try and snake you in order to get the one managerial position that may be available. That's not how my brain thinks. So coming into the corporate world, I did not believe in the levels of malice and hatefulness. I don't even really know what words to use to articulate it, but literally my experience was a mirror image of your experience. Experience. So like the team that I joined on my first job working at a corporate establishment was all female team, all white team, and then there's me. the black boy. And I'll tell you this as well. I think it is so much. I mean, I don't know the woman's experience because it's probably the same, but for different reasons. Because I think it's so hard when you're the only man, because you already know what all the stereotypes are of men. So you kind of don't want to make women feel a way at the fact that you're a man and you're already that much different to them. And then you're also black. Yeah. So there's that. So I'm like, well, there's a cultural gulf and there's a gender gulf between us. And I'm trying to show you I'm not that kind of guy. I'm actually really flexible. That's why I got this position in an all-women team. But also, my being black is not an issue. I am black.
Yeah.
It's not a performance, you know what I mean? It's who I am. So when I tell you these women ganged up on me, oh my God, I have never. But the thing is, and this is what the whole experience actually made me realize, is that actually in every facet of my life, at all times, whenever I have been attacked by or ostracized or whatever, somewhere, somehow, there's always a black woman come save me. Always. And I don't know how. This corporate job, like my department was one table, like long table. On the other half of my department was black people and other people, but on the half that I worked, it was just white. There was a girl that worked for a completely different team, but she was within earshot. Yeah. So I'm trying my best not to be the aggressive black guy when people are talking to me mad reckless. I'm like, and the thing is, they say stuff and I'm like, hey!
They're trying to bait you.
You have to catch yourself. I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I'm actually having to talk to myself in my head. I'm actually doing, so what she just said, forget that. What she really meant was, take it this way.
Take it this
park
way.
The rest.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. So I'm doing all of this mental gymnastics, trying to play their game. Do you know how, like, it's like I'm going to work. We're all doing 9 to 5, but I'm actually working 10 times harder than you because I'm just also trying to act in this way and not think about that. Ignore this, process this different, actually shelve that, take that one to the gym. Do you know how hench I got? No. Do you know how hench I got?
You're doing all that. You're doing all that. Not even to mention the extra actual physical hard work you're doing to try and get a higher
just to be
position.
Normal. Not even to get higher position, to validate the position you're in. Listen, when I tell you this workplace had a gym in it, I got hench because every day I was like, the only way I could even manage this is if I bang up each and every one of these idiots after, but in the gym. Because I was like, wow. But back to the black girls, wow. When I tell you this girl, she just emailed me out of nowhere. I was like, who's this? And she was like, oh yeah, you know, come lunch with us, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
All of that, WhatsApp, chatting every day, commute. Everything. And it's not the only time she did it. Then the teams moved around. She eventually left, you know. But then one of my best friends ever basically did the same thing. She got put on my department though. So now there's two of us, a black boy and a black girl. I've seen that and I'm like, calm. Like, cause I'm still processing that this isn't right. Like I haven't actually at the time really understood this is 100% not right. So now she's come and now I can see, no, this is racial.
Yeah.
Because wow, why are you talking to her like this? Like before it was just, I could be like, oh, you lot just don't know how to talk to boys. That's your problem. It's because I'm a boy and you lot just don't know how to be nice to boys and you're just being exclusionary because I'm not a girl and I don't like Love Island and blah, blah, blah. Like I can, you know what I mean? I can deal with that. I can make do. But now I'm like, but she's not any of those things. And she's into all the stuff you lot are into. And you're still moving hella mad. But now it's with me and her. Like,
I think I definitely think that the struggle with black women is different because again, white men find black men threatening, but white women find black women threatening. It's the same. So that's probably why. I remember my first team, and one thing about me, I'm very like, we're colleagues, we're not friends. And I feel like a lot of black people, it's like a part of our culture. Like, I work with you, but that doesn't mean we're besties, okay? We're not besties. You don't
I
need
just
to know,
don't let people in because
you don't
I'm
need
like,
to know all my life, because these people, you'll go to work. They'll
you're
ask
the one
you,
that's gonna throw it back at me.
Hold on. You go to work on a Monday morning. The meeting will start. How was your weekend? These don't all regurgitate everything. Yeah, this happened to me, my mom, my dad, my brother, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my cat, my dog. You hear the whole story. You ask us, my weekend was lovely, thank you. They can't penetrate. They don't like the fact that they don't know our business, stuff like that. So like, I remember, the girls I was working with, and it wasn't just white girls, like Asian girls as well. And I feel like Asian people, they know how to play the game better than us. Like, they really know how to get in. For sure. They be moving,
they got
like
it patterned.
They got it so patterned. But hold on. So they got it so patterned. So these girls, they kept inviting me out for drinks on Fridays, but I've got my own girls that I want to meet up with. Okay, so I used to go for like one drink and then be like, because if you don't go, they automatically don't trust you. So you got to go first of all. So you got to socialize with them. So I went, and then I'd go for like 1 or 2 drinks and then I'd go and meet my girls because that's what, And to them, that was a problem. The fact that I didn't stay the whole night regularly was a problem. So in the office, it became a less ostracized Dammy. Like, let's keep her there. She's not part of our crew because she doesn't let us in. We don't know what's going on between her and her man. We don't know what's going on with her family. We don't know where she lives. We don't know this, we don't know that. They like to know too much. So little things like that is, the reasons why. And black women, even when we get in the room, you have to like play the game to the point where they know you're black, but they don't see you as behaving like a black person, and that's the only way that you're gonna move. It's the only way. And just coming back to what you said about black women like helping you out in the scenarios that you've been in. Yeah, this is the reason why I think that black people need to be solid. We need to come in solidarity in all walks of our lives, in all areas of our lives, because of what I experienced. I mean, I had black women who were mentoring me, like, make my life difficult. And it's like, for that reason, when I then progressed and got into positions where I was mentoring and coaching other people, I was like, I'll be damned if I then now treat my fellow black person like that, because I know what I went through and I know how that impacted me. So now I'm that person that's like, you know what, if I see like a black person, a new black person in my workplace, or like if there's any suggestions or like any coaching or mentoring I can offer them to help them progress, I will do that, because now I'm in a place where I know what they want, what they're looking for. I'm in the room when certain decisions are made. I've got myself into a nice cushy place at work now where, I'm now also somebody deciding somebody's fate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for that reason, now that I know that, now I know the in, and I know how to help other people pattern it. And I take it as a proper responsibility, but I feel like more people need to do that. And it's probably those women that helped you probably did the same thing, took it as a responsibility of, I need to make sure that I help coach, support, or even give people the know-how and the tea on how to progress in this place, because nobody did that for me, but I want to make sure other people are doing it.
Literally everybody
and
I
that
train.
We need that. We need more of that. So, like black women, if you get to a place, don't act stush for the people below you. Don't make things difficult for them. With love and grace, find a way to like support them, mentor them, coach them, give them all the tea. I feel like black people as a whole, or people as a whole, if you want to earn more money, eventually you got to be like, I'm out, peace out. Like,
yeah, you got to make your own company, man. You really got to do your own thing. And
you just got to move. There's none of this, I'm staying in the job for more than 2 years.
I mean, that ain't
cut,
worked.
Yeah, cut.
That ain't worked.
Cut, because you're not going to progress that way, because they won't respect you.
They don't.
But it's a shame that it has to be like that. It's a shame.
It is, but it is what it is. I'm like, no love lost, you know what I mean? The world keeps spinning. But being, and in my mind I call it the black alumni. Yeah. The black alumni needs to be immediate. The second you see someone join your establishment, bring them in.
But just don't be threatened, because I think you know what it is. Yeah, everyone's fighting for the spot.
For the spot,
to be the token. Yeah, because it's hard. It's hard because they don't want to give it to everyone. So what happens to some people is they get to like the top of where they're gonna get to.
They hit their ceiling.
And then they feel scared. They now become threatened as well. That, you know what, if someone else can come and take my spot, if someone comes and I worked for this place. See what I mean? And it's like, they've created that environment for us where we're now pitted against each other in a way. It's competition. They want us to compete. What we don't realize is, especially in the corporate world, is you are going to work 200% in comparison to your Caucasian or even Asian peers, and that's what they want. They want you to they want you to be a hamster in a hamster wheel, dangling that carrot. You continue to work your ass off, and you're doing that work for free. Because they don't give you the position, but they make you work as if you're getting that position.
Yeah, you ain't about to get it, boy.
And you ain't getting it. You're going to work, do way above your pay grade, way above what is on your job role, on the job profile, and they still won't give it to you. That's the game. That's the game.
I've seen it. It's not been me, but I've seen it many times.
That's the game. So, to rectify that, leave. And jump pay grades by going from company to company. It sounds so mean. Not mean
but it works.
or demotivating, but it works. Because the longer you, as a black person, the longer you stay in a corporate position, the more you're going to work for way less than what you're actually worth. So just move on. Give it 2 years, boom, move to another place.
I mean, it's kind of like akin to the same discussions they were having around like social media influencers, where people on the social media, like the variation in the way that companies were paying people for the same content, like there's this white influencer, we're gonna pay her for a post and a video versus this black one. The pay was wild.
But the difference with social media, I don't think you can't jump from company to company because it's
no, you can't. But I mean, in terms of what they will pay for the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Between different with people from different backgrounds. You go into an interview and they say, what salary are you after? You know what the job is worth, but you also have to be like, I'm black, like. If I say this number, it might
say
come
it with
off
your
a
chest.
little bit.
No. Everyone, listen, listeners, family out there, don't let no company take you for idiot. You see what I did there?
It's damn it for the black today.
Don't let them take you for idiots. Okay, money have to make. All right. So
I heard Molly have to make.
You think about money made too much.
That's my new bar.
I said money have to make. All right.
I'm not gonna say Molly have to make.
So right, for that reason, state your worth, innit? State your worth. Don't give them discount. Don't give them discount. Don't give them 10% off. Tell them your worth. When you're working somewhere and you realize that you are doing way, way more than your counterparts, chasing this progression they don't want to give you, go somewhere else and you will get paid more. Your pay grade will increase. Okay. So yeah, that's my advice to you. Trust me, because I've been there. Like I've been working somewhere for years, doing way more.
5 years straight.
No, and you know what? Sometimes you even gaslight yourself. You start telling yourself, I'm telling myself that I'm doing way more than so and so, but am I? No, you are. The moment you feel like...
you start doubting yourself.
No, you are.
You are definitely doing more.
You are. Someone is forwarding emails. They are getting the job, the progression. You are doing project work on top of your day job. You're doing project work. You're doing this meeting, that meeting. You're doing personal PA to your manager. You're doing blah, blah, blah.
You're training people.
You're doing management role, this, that. And you're not even in that position. And they're paying you maybe 30 something K when really you're worth 50K. My friend, cut it. Get out. Because you know what's going to happen? Because you know what's going to happen? You're going to be working, you're going to be exceeding the expectation, right? Then you're going to clock, I went for it last time. They gave me some stupid feedback as to why they don't want to give me the position. I went for it a second time. Again, they gave me some stupid reason as to why I didn't get it, and I'm seeing so and so get it, and I've been doing more work than them. Yeah. And then you're gonna start saying, you know what, F it, I'm gonna put less effort in because my effort is not being appreciated. And then they're gonna try and manage you out because they're gonna say that you're underperforming, but you're not underperforming. You've just gone back to performing at the level you're supposed to.
The level you're being paid.
But because they're so used to you overachieving and doing way more than you're supposed to, they're gonna say you've taken your foot off the gas. You are not working to the standard you're supposed to be working, and then they're gonna start plotting for you to manage you out. So rather than going through all of that business, just, you know what? I went for it the first time. I didn't get it. Second time. You see that second time? Start looking for somewhere else and still go for it the second time in case you do get it. If you don't get it, well, I'm looking for somewhere else and I'm gonna go. Because what I'm not gonna do is I'm not working myself to the ground for you to not give me my promotion.
Yeah,
there's no more loyalty to companies.
Everybody values the actual output, your output. So if you're not that great and whatnot, then these people won't need to replace you. They won't worry if you say, you know, oh yeah, I need to go somewhere else. So take their energy and use their same energy. Let
me tell you something. If you passed away, God forbid, but let's say something happened to you, they're going to replace you like that. You might not have even touched out of the turnstiles downstairs. You know what I mean? Like, you might not have even, do you know what I mean? You might not have tapped it. You haven't even tapped your pass to get out the turnstiles downstairs. They've already planned the next person that's coming in. The next person's coming in tomorrow. They're using
your psychology against you is basically the aim of the game. You think you're special. You're made to think that you're special, but nobody's special. That's what it is. So you have to be special to you. You have to cherish you and do right by you.
Put yourself first. This is in 2022. We are doing soft life, okay, my people, and part of soft life is no negative vibes, okay, positive vibes only, no toxicity around us. That includes workplace, friends, family. I don't care, anything toxic, I'm out. So literally, okay, we want to move forward in life. So if you're in a workplace and you find that you're overexerting yourself, you are not getting the progression you deserve, be honest with yourself now.
Be very honest. Don't
be honest with yourself now.
Gassing yourself.
Don't.
Be real. Are you putting 100%?
Like I said, you're overexerting yourself, okay? You're not getting the pay you deserved. You've tried. They can't give you a tangible reason as to why you are not progressing. Your managers are not having open and honest conversations with you about progression and helping, because part of a manager's role is to coach you into progressing. So if they are not helping you to identify the places where you're falling down on, you know, your grey areas, your gaps, if they're not helping you to identify your gaps and they're not helping you to set smart, tangible objectives to help you overcome those gaps so that you can then go for the position you want, run.
Yeah, they're failing you as a manager.
Run. And we're going to leave it there. I know a lot of people would have had experiences similar to some of the things that me and Venom spoke about today. And we would love to hear your experiences in the comments down below if you're watching on YouTube. Venom, where can we find you?
Well, you can definitely not find me working in any of those places anymore, but you can find me on venom.com. Also, man's going to say Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter, but I'm gonna get back on Twitter. So I'm on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I'm all there. It's all down there.
Yeah. And as for me, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on TikTok. And I will put the details down below and in the description. Same thing on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. All of our socials are in the description. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Hit subscribe and all that palaver. And we will see you next week. And until then, peace.